Explore the Bible in 1 year with us. Day 31. Genesis 31, Matthew 10, Psalms 53. Presented by Mount Vernon Wilderness House Gathering.
Genesis 31, Common English Bible. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, "Jacob took everything our father owned, and from it he produced all of this wealth." And Jacob saw that Laban no longer liked him as much as he used to. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Go back to the land of your ancestors and to your relatives, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent for Rachel and Leah and summoned them into the field where his flock was. He said to them, "I am aware that your father no longer likes me as much as he used to, but my father's God has been with me. You know that I've worked for your father as hard as I could, but your father cheated me and changed my payment 10 times. Yet God didn't let him harm me. If he said, 'The speckled ones will be your payment,' the whole flock gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, 'The striped ones will be your payment,' the whole flock gave birth to striped young. God took away your father's livestock and gave them to me. When the flocks were mating, I looked up and saw in a dream that the male goats that mounted the flock were striped, speckled, and spotted. In the dream, God's messenger said to me, 'Jacob,' and I said, 'I'm here.' He said, 'Look up and watch all the striped, speckled, and spotted male goats mounting the flock. I've seen everything that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a sacred pillar and where you made a solemn promise to me. Now, get up and leave this country and go back to the land of your relatives." Rachel and Leah answered him, "Is there any share or inheritance left for us in our father's household? Doesn't he think of us as foreigners since he sold us, and has even used up the payment he received for us? All of the wealth God took from our father belongs to us and our children. Now, do everything God told you to do." So Jacob got up, put his sons and wives on the camels, and set out with all of his livestock and all of his possessions that he had acquired in Paddan Aram in order to return to his father Isaac in the Canaan. Now, while Laban was out shearing his sheep, Rachel stole the household's divine images that belonged to her father. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not sending word to him that he was leaving. So Jacob and his entire household left. He got up, crossed the river, and set out directly for the mountains of Gilead. 3 days later, Laban found out that Jacob had gone, so Laban took his brothers with him, chased Jacob for 7 days, and caught up with him in the mountains of Gilead. That night, God appeared to Laban the Aramean in a dream and said, "Be careful and don't say anything hastily to Jacob one way or the other." Laban reached Jacob after Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, so Laban and his brothers also pitched theirs in the mountains of Gilead. Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done? You have deceived me and taken off with my daughters as if they were prisoners of war. Why did you leave secretly, deceiving me and not letting me know? I would have sent you off with a celebration, with songs and tambourines and harps. You didn't even let me kiss my sons and my daughters goodbye. Now you've acted like a fool, and I have the power to punish you. However, your father's God told me yesterday, 'Be careful and don't say anything hastily to Jacob one way or the other.' You've rushed off now because you missed your father's household so much. But why did you steal my gods?" Jacob responded to Laban, "I was afraid and convinced myself that you would take your daughters away from me. Whomever you find with your divine images won't live. Identify whatever I have that is yours in front of your brothers and take it." Jacob didn't know that Rachel had stolen them. Laban went into Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and her 2 servants' tent and didn't find them. So he left Leah's tent and went into Rachel's. Now Rachel had taken the divine images and put them into the camel's saddlebag and sat on them. Laban felt around in the whole tent but couldn't find them. Rachel said to her father, "Sir, don't be angry with me because I can't get up for you. I'm having my period." He searched but couldn't find the divine images. Jacob was angry and complained to Laban, "What have I done wrong, and what's my crime that you've tracked me down like this? You've now felt through all of my baggage, and what have you found from your household's belongings? Put it in front of our relatives. Let them decide between us. For these 20 years I've been with you, your female sheep and goats haven't miscarried, and I haven't eaten your flock's rams. When animals were killed, I didn't bring them to you but took the loss myself. You demanded compensation from me for any animals poached during the day or night. The dry heat consumed me during the day, and the frost at night. I couldn't sleep. I've now spent 20 years in your household. I worked for 14 years for your 2 daughters and for 6 years for your flock. And you changed my pay 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham and the awesome one of Isaac hadn't been with me, you'd have no doubt sent me away without anything. God saw my harsh treatment and my hard work and reprimanded you yesterday." Laban responded and told Jacob, "The daughters are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. Everything you see is mine. But what can I do now about my daughters and about their sons? Come, let's make a treaty, you and me, and let something be our witness." So Jacob took a stone, set it up as a sacred pillar, and said to his relatives, "Gather stones." So they took stones, made a mound, and ate there near the mound. Laban called it Jegar-sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. Laban said, "This mound is our witness today," and therefore he too named it Gilead. He also named it Mizpah because he said, "The Lord will observe both of us when we are separated from each other. If you treat my daughters badly, and if you marry other women, though we aren't there, know that God observed our witness." Laban said to Jacob, "Here is this mound, and here is the sacred pillar that I've set up for us. This mound and the sacred pillar are witnesses that I won't travel beyond this mound, and that you won't travel beyond this mound and this pillar to do harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor will keep order between us." So Jacob gave his word in the name of the awesome one of his father Isaac. Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited his relatives to a meal. They ate together and spent the night on the mountain. Laban got up early in the morning, kissed his sons and daughters, blessed them, and left to go back to his own place. Matthew 10, Contemporary English Version. Jesus called together his 12 disciples. He gave them the power to force out evil spirits and to heal every kind of disease and sickness. The first of the 12 apostles was Simon, better known as Peter. His brother Andrew was an apostle, and so were James and John, the 2 sons of Zebedee. Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus were also apostles. The others were Simon, known as the Eager One, and Judas Iscariot, who later betrayed Jesus. Jesus sent out the 12 apostles with these instructions: "Stay away from the Gentiles and don't go to any Samaritan town. Go only to the people of Israel, because they are like a flock of lost sheep. As you go, announce that the kingdom of heaven will soon be here. Heal the sick, raise the dead to life, heal people who have leprosy, and force out demons. You received without paying, now give without being paid. Don't take along any gold, silver, or copper coins, and don't carry a traveling bag or an extra shirt or sandals or a walking stick. Workers deserve their food. So when you go to a town or a village, find someone able and willing to have you as their guest, and stay with them until you leave. When you go to a home, give it your blessing of peace. If the home is deserving, let your blessing remain with them. But if the home doesn't accept you, take back your blessing of peace. If someone won't welcome you or listen to your message, leave their home or town and shake the dust from your feet at them. I promise you, the day of judgment will be easier for the towns of Sodom and Gomorrah than for that town. I am sending you like lambs into a pack of wolves. So be as wise as snakes and as innocent as doves. Watch out for people who will take you to court and have you beaten in their synagogues. Because of me, you will be dragged before rulers and kings to tell them and the Gentiles about your faith. But when someone arrests you, don't worry about what you will say or how you will say it. At that time you will be given the words to say, but you will not really be the one speaking. The Spirit from your Father will tell you what to say. Brothers and sisters will betray one another and have each other put to death. Parents will betray their own children, and children will turn against their parents and have them killed. Everyone will hate you because of me, but if you remain faithful until the end, you will be saved. When people mistreat you in one town, hurry to another one. I promise you, before you have gone to all the towns of Israel, the Son of Man will come. Students are not better than their teacher, and slaves are not better than their master. It is enough for students to be like their teacher, and for slaves to be like their master. If people call the head of the family Satan, what will they say about the rest of the family? Don't be afraid of anyone. Everything that is hidden will be found out, and every secret will be known. Whatever I say to you in the dark, you must tell in the light, and you must announce from the housetops whatever I have whispered to you. Don't be afraid of people. They can kill you, but they cannot harm your soul. Instead, you should fear God, who can destroy both your body and your soul in hell. Aren't 2 sparrows sold for only a penny? But your Father knows when any one of them falls to the ground. Even the hairs on your head are counted. So don't be afraid. You are worth much more than many sparrows. Psalm 53. Common English Bible. Fools say in their hearts, "There's no God. They are corrupt and do horrible deeds. Not one of them does anything good." God looks down from heaven on humans to see if anyone is wise, to see if anyone seeks God, but all have turned away. Everyone is corrupt. No one does good, not even one person. Are they dumb, these evildoers, devouring my people like they are eating bread, but never calling on God? There, where there was nothing to fear, they will be in utter panic, because God will scatter the bones of those who attacked you. You will put them to shame, because God has rejected them. Let Israel's salvation come out of Zion. When God changes his people's circumstances for the better, Jacob will rejoice, Israel will celebrate.